If your bed points directly at the door, you're sleeping in the same position ancient families used to prepare the dead before carrying them out of the house. I know that sounds harsh, but after more than 40 years of studying Feng Shui, I've learned that sometimes the truth must be spoken plainly, especially when it concerns your peace, your body, and the energy that shapes your future. You see, there is a strange contradiction I witness again and again. Some bedrooms look perfect, clean lines, soft lighting, beautiful furniture, but the moment I step inside, something feels wrong, as if the air is moving in the wrong direction. Then I look at the bed, and there it is, placed directly in line with the door. The coffin position, it's the kind of placement that looks harmless to the eyes, but destructive to the spirit. You sleep there thinking you're resting, while the natural flow of energy is pulling at you, draining you, thinning your inner strength night after night. And yet most people have no idea. They wonder why they wake up anxious, why their energy fades, why opportunities slip away. That's why this message matters. Because what seems like a simple layout mistake can quietly reroute the entire current of your life. Before we go deeper, let me ask you something gentle. Have you ever felt tired even after a full night of sleep? If so, share a simple yes in the comments. You might be surprised how many people feel the same. Your experience could help someone else recognize the same silent pattern in their own home. And as we continue, I promise to show you not only why this position drains peace, health, and prosperity, but also the exact steps to turn your bed into a source of strength, protection, and renewal. But first, take a slow breath with me. Place your hand on your heart and whisper one affirmation, softly but with intention. I deserve to sleep where my energy is safe. Let this be your starting point, because tonight we begin the journey of reclaiming the power that has been slipping away, quietly, invisibly, through the doorway of your own room. Most people assume that the only danger in a bedroom is a bad mattress or a loud neighborhood. But in Feng Shui, the true danger is far quieter. So quiet that it works on you, even while you're unconscious. The coffin position is exactly that kind of silent thief. You don't feel it in the moment, but its effects stack over time like dust on a forgotten shelf. To understand why this position is so damaging, you must first understand one simple truth. While you sleep, your defenses are down. Your mind softens. Your spirit opens. Your energy is unguarded. At night, you are not the person who powers through deadlines and conversations. You are vulnerable, receptive, like a vessel being refilled, and that is precisely why the placement of your bed matters more than any other piece of furniture in your home. In Feng Shui, the door is known as the mouth of qi. It is where energy enters and exits a room, constantly moving, constantly shifting. Imagine standing in a river as water rushes past your ankles. Now imagine lying in that current for 8 hours. That is what it feels like to sleep in the coffin position. You lie directly in the path of an energetic stream, one that pulls at you, tugs at your vitality, and sweeps away the stability your body tries to build each night. Some people describe waking up startled for no reason. Others say they dream of falling, running, or being chased. Some feel anxious before they even open their eyes in the morning. These are not coincidences. They are signs of an energy field being disturbed, nudged, or pushed out of alignment. When your bed sits directly in line with the door, qi does not circle around you. It rushes through you, and anything that rushes cannot nourish. Think of a candle flame in the wind. It flickers, it bends, it struggles to stay alive. That is your energy every night in the coffin position. And when peace cannot settle, the mind becomes restless. When the mind is restless, sleep becomes shallow. And when sleep is shallow, the body cannot heal little by little. You begin to feel the consequences. Waking up exhausted even after a full night. mood swings for no clear reason, a sense of emotional fragility, losing focus faster than you used to, feeling out of sync with your own life. And eventually, yes, it touches your prosperity too. Because prosperity follows the same laws as Kui. Where energy cannot gather, wealth cannot stay. I've watched this pattern unfold in families, business owners, retirees, and young adults just starting out. It doesn't care about age, status, or ambition. If the energy is being pulled away from you every night, your luck, your health, and your clarity will always feel one step ahead, just out of reach. Now place your hand on your chest again. Take a breath as slow as sunrise and repeat softly, I release the energy that drains me. I sleep in alignment with peace, strength, and protection. Every night my body reclaims what life takes from me. These affirmations matter, not because they are magical words, but because they gently repeat. And in a moment, we will go deeper into what truly happens to your health, your emotions, and your future when you stay in the coffin position too long, and how simple adjustments can reverse everything. Just stay with me. This is where transformation begins. When a person sleeps in the coffin position long enough, the consequences don't arrive like a storm. They seep in slowly, the way dusk folds into a room without anyone noticing when daylight ended. It's never one night that changes everything. It's the accumulation of many nights, many restless breaths, many mornings when something inside feels slightly off, but you can't quite name what. The first fracture always begins with peace. Not the outer peace of silence, but the inner peace that lets the mind release its grip on the day. When you sleep directly in line with the door, that peace is interrupted in ways your conscious mind can't understand, but your deeper self feels immediately. A bedroom should cradle stillness. Instead, the coffin position creates motion, subtle, invisible, but constant. Energy flows straight toward you like a narrow wind, and even if your eyes are closed, your nervous system responds. People tell me they don't sleep deeply anymore. They drift. They float on the edge of rest but never fall fully in. They wake in the night without reason. They open their eyes in the morning with a faint sense that something passed near them. Their minds feel busy even in sleep, circling thoughts that should have settled hours before. None of this is dramatic, but it is persistent. And peace does not thrive in places where the body feels watched, where movement seems to exist nearby, where the subconscious is pulled into alertness again and again. What begins as a disturbance of peace eventually becomes a disturbance of the body. Rest isn't simply a comfort, it is the foundation on which every physical function depends. Without deep rest, the body repairs itself only halfway. Muscles stay tense. Hormones fall out of rhythm. Breathing becomes shallow. The heart works a little harder through the night. People wake with aches they didn't have before, with tired eyes, with a feeling that their limbs are heavier than they should be. They describe it the same way. I'm not sick, but I'm not well either. That phrase has become a chorus in my years of practice, always vague, always true, and almost always connected to the space where they sleep. The coffin position creates a current of qi that pulls the body's energy outward. Instead of sinking into renewal, the body defends itself from the invisible motion passing through it. That subtle defense consumes strength. Night after night, that strength is used not for healing, but for endurance. Eventually, the body shows it, through fatigue that coffee can't lift, through stiffness that stretching doesn't fix, through sleep that feels long, but never feels restorative. But perhaps the most unexpected consequence is how this position affects a person's prosperity. Not necessarily in terms of dollars, but in the broader sense of momentum and clarity. Prosperity requires something many people forget, a well-rooted mind. When the mind is tired, its timing slips. Opportunities are harder to see. Decisions feel heavier. Doubt replaces instinct. Motivation weakens. Tasks that once felt manageable begin to feel overwhelming. I've watched it happen too many times to call it coincidence. Someone who once moved through life with confidence begins hesitating, pulling back, questioning themselves in moments where they used to trust their judgment. They feel as though life is slowing down around them, or worse, slipping away in pieces they can't catch. None of it is dramatic enough to sound like a problem, but together these tiny fractures add up. And they all trace back to the nights when energy was pulled from them instead of settling around them. Prosperity isn't built in moments of strength, it's built in moments of clarity. But clarity depends on rest, and rest depends on safety. A person who sleeps as if lying in the path of a current, exposed and unprotected, cannot gather the steady inner force prosperity requires. Without realizing it, their energy becomes scattered. Their focus thins. Their confidence dimly flickers instead of burning steadily. Most people never connect these changes to their bedroom. They adjust their routines, change their habits, take supplements, rearrange their schedules, believing their exhaustion comes from life itself. But life is not the culprit. The room is. The position is. That straight line between where energy enters and where the body lies is a quiet thief that drains a person night after night. I've stood in countless bedrooms and felt the same thing. A heaviness near the door, a thinning of vitality near the bed. The air tells a story long before the occupant does. And once the bed is moved out of that direct line, the shift is just as clear. The room breathes differently. The air stills. The spirit settles. People often tell me the same sentence weeks later. I feel like myself again. That is the quiet truth of correcting the coffin position. It doesn't give you anything new. It returns what was slowly slipping away. Your inner steadiness, your physical grounding, your mental sharpness. And now that you understand how the coffin position drains peace, health, and prosperity, the next step is seeing how real this pattern becomes when lived through the life of another. The patterns I described are not theories. They are things I've watched unfold in real people. People who lived ordinary lives yet carried exhaustion far heavier than their years. One of the clearest examples came from a man named Leonard. Someone whose story still returns to me whenever I think about how quietly the coffin position can shape a life. Leonard was in his late 50s when his sister asked me to visit. He had once been a man full of life, steady-handed, sharp-minded, always the person others called when something needed fixing. But in recent years, something in him had begun to dim. He moved slower. He argued with himself over small decisions. He laughed less. He complained of waking up tired, as if sleep had become another job instead of a refuge. When I stepped into his home, everything appeared in order. The living room was warm, the kitchen smelled faintly of black coffee, and sunlight fell in soft stripes across the hallway floor. But the moment we approached his bedroom door, the air changed. There was a thinness to it, a quiet tension, the kind that appears when a space has been absorbing strain for too long. He opened the door and stood to the side. There it was. The bed lined up perfectly with the entrance, the foot pointing directly toward the doorway, a straight, unbroken path, the exact shape I've seen drain people again and again. Leonard looked at me, almost embarrassed. "It's been this way for years," he said. "Never thought much about it." I told him gently, "Your body has thought about it every night." He frowned as if trying to understand something that had always been right in front of him, but had gone unnoticed. We talked for a while. He told me he didn't dream much anymore. Or maybe he did, but he never remembered anything except a restless feeling. He said he often woke with a tightness in his chest. Not pain exactly, just pressure, as though he'd spent the night bracing himself for something unseen. He mentioned how his patience had worn thin, how he tired more easily, how he felt strangely disconnected from his own days. All of it fit the pattern so precisely that I didn't need to ask more. His energy wasn't gone. It was being taken from him in small, steady amounts, the way water leaks from a cracked vessel. And lying in that direct line every night meant his spirit never had the chance to settle long enough to gather strength. We began with something simple, shifting the bed to the opposite corner where it faced the door diagonally rather than directly. The moment we moved it, the atmosphere changed. The room felt less exposed, less linear, as if the air finally had permission to slow down. I could see Leonard noticing it too, not with words, but with the way his shoulders dropped slightly, his breath lengthened, and his gaze softened. He sat on the edge of the bed for a moment. "It feels different," he murmured, calmer. That was all he said. But in that small reaction lived years of accumulated strain being acknowledged at last. Over the next few weeks, his sister kept in touch. She told me he'd begun waking earlier, not out of restlessness, but because he actually felt rested. He started cooking breakfast again. He made small repairs around the house, things he had been too drained to bother with. She said his voice sounded more like the brother she remembered, steady, warm, lightly humorous. When I visited again months later, he greeted me with a brightness I hadn't seen before. He didn't speak about miracles or dramatic changes. Instead, he described subtle shifts, clearer mornings, easier decisions, a return of motivation that he thought age had taken from him. "It's strange," he said with a smile that reached his eyes. "I didn't realize how long I'd been living tired. It feels like someone took the weight off my chest." The truth was simpler than that. The weight hadn't been removed. It had stopped landing on him every night. That is the quiet power of correcting the coffin position. Not magic. Alignment. When the place where you sleep stops draining your energy, the pieces of yourself that felt lost begin to rise again, slowly, steadily, naturally, with the rhythm of someone finally resting in safety. When the bed is finally placed where energy can gather instead of being pulled away, something remarkable begins to happen. Nights grow quieter. Thoughts grow clearer. The body, relieved of its silent battle, finds its rhythm again. And slowly, a person begins to rise each morning with the steadiness they had forgotten they were capable of. But the transformation does not stop with the physical space. The bedroom responds to intention just as much as placement. The way you enter the room, the thoughts you carry as you prepare for sleep, the energy you allow to settle around you, all of these shape the quality of your rest. Each night, before you lie down, pause for a moment. Stand beside your bed and breathe in gently, as if drawing calm into your chest. Let the room soften around you. Let the weight of the day fall away. Not all at once, but the way dusk fades into evening. Slow, natural. I've found that simply touching the headboard for a second, grounding yourself, can turn the bedroom into a sanctuary instead of a resting place. As you settle beneath the covers, speak softly to yourself, not to manifest anything grand or dramatic, but to remind your spirit of what it deserves. A single sentence is enough. Tonight, I rest in a place that protects my energy. That small intention, repeated consistently, becomes a quiet anchor. You're not commanding the universe. You're aligning yourself with it. And if you've followed the journey of this teaching, understood the danger of the coffin position, recognized its effects, felt the truth in the stories, you now hold the power to reshape the energy of your nights. Your bedroom is no longer just a room. It is a vessel, a keeper of your strength. The first place where renewal begins. If anything in this message has helped you understand your space more deeply, I invite you gently to connect a simple like lets me know these teachings reached you. If you feel moved, you can subscribe so you won't miss the next lesson, where we continue exploring the hidden forces that shape peace and prosperity. And if you've ever experienced a night that felt draining instead of healing, share your story in the comments. You may find someone who feels the same, someone who needed to hear what you just learned. Above all, remember this: when you honor where you sleep, you honor your life itself. Each night becomes an opportunity not just to rest, but to read to, I am safe, I am held, I rise restored.